What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 12 of the WCW Nitro podcast. I'm your host. I'm Notorious when I am Dom. I'm here, my brother, all the way down in Delaware. I am here with BDC. BDC, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Another day, another dollar. Especially the 500 I had to give to a plumber yesterday. It was great.
Jeez.
Yeah, dude.
It's always something. It is always something.
Yeah.
But all right, episode 12 of WCW Nitro. We have Eric Bischoff, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and Steve Mongo McMichael on commentary. I'm not sure where they at this week. They didn't announce it.
Macon, Georgia. They're at the
Macon,
Macon Coliseum. They're at the Macon Coliseum. Yeah, they didn't announce it this week.
Why do they do that? Why they just every few weeks?
I have no idea. I think somebody just kind of just throws it in their ear or what have you. It's like, dude, you know where you're walking into. You know where you're going. When you walk in the door, you know where you're at. So they just assume we know, you know, because they're that important that we know where they are at all times.
All right. All right. Well, they tease Hulk Hogan and Sting later on this night, and Bobby the Brain Heenan said he hopes Sting beat Hogan down, and he hopes Sting falls downstairs, and they both take each other out, basically.
Yeah. Because Bobby Heenan, the quintessential heel announcer and subsequent hater of Hogan and anyone face for as long as I could tell, will always let that opinion be known. He's hilarious.
Yes,
he is hilarious.
Well, you know what's hilarious? Our opening match is stemming from the first episode of, or the second episode of Nitro, and they fought, 3-4 weeks later? We have Scott Norton taking on Shark. And as Scott Norton was walking to the ring, the Shark, he was sprinting. He took out Scott Norton, and this is our opening match. These guys, it was a very physical fight. I don't know why they would kick off the show with two heels going at it. But long story short, the finish of the match, we see Scott Norton body slamming Shark. 1, 2, 3. Scott Norton is your winner. The crowd is mild, and Shark gets up and
you give him a lot of credit. You give him a lot of credit for being mild. First off, the fact that they announced this as a special rematch, special to who? Who asked for this? Episode 2 was when the issue happened. Then 4 weeks later, they're fighting in the back. Then they have their first rematch. Mm-hmm. Then they're fighting again. And then now it's a special rematch. Like, we're on episode 12. This started episode 2. So for 10 weeks, this has been storytelling that no one cared about.
It's been brilliant.
But it keeps going. And after the match, there was still Shark talking about I own you and all this stuff like it's not going to end. So I guess we're going to be dealing with this off and on for the next God knows how long. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, man. I'm hoping this is their last encounter.
I really
do. Oh, man. Well, all right. Well, after this, we see Mean Gene Okerlund. It's time for him to interview somebody. He's interviewing the Taskmaster and the original Benedict Arnold, Jimmy Hart. And Jimmy Hart, he's hyping up Sting. He said Hogan turned on Sting. When he got to the company, he got a new best friend, and it's Macho Man Randy Savage. Mm-hmm. And my God, and then Kevin Sutherland gets out there and basically said that that it's going to snap into World War III, 3 rings, 60 men, 1 title, and Hogan is stupid enough to hand the title to Jimmy Hart. But that belt is coming to the Dungeon of Doom because of strength in numbers right there.
Yeah. So in the last episode, I discussed how their promos always talked about things that happened in the ring previously. Despite the fact that this promo stunk, they actually did not go revisionist history on us. They basically, the only thing that was really discussed was relevant was why the title is being held up for the pay-per-view. Outside of that, they didn't mention anything really about what had happened weeks prior, and actually most of the interview was Hart hyping up Sting and thanking Mean Gene for the compliment, quote unquote, when he basically dissed the hell out of him. But
Yep.
um, so that's what this is a direct correlation to that comment I made in the last episode. But again, the interview still stunk. But it is. I just think Jimmy Hart and Kevin Sullivan are not good interviews. At
This is
least,
this is the most
in
we ever seen.
promos. At least in Promoville, they're not good. They're not good.
This is the most we ever seen Jimmy Hart talk.
Yeah,
'Cause Hogan was always the mouthpiece.
yeah. And if you go through his history, everyone that he's ever managed, he's just kind of like, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna say a few words, and then my guy's gonna take it from here. Well, Kevin Sullivan is not a great talker either, so he's got to talk more, and it just exposes him.
Yeah.
At least, and again, to anybody who's like, but he's a great interview with in an interview setting. He may be in a promo setting. He is not. He's just not.
Yeah.
He's just not.
All right. Well, after this, we see Disco Inferno coming out. We haven't seen him in a few weeks, but
Yep.
he has his own CD. He comes out and Eddie Guerrero music hits and he's staring down Disco like, get out of here. It's my time.
Exactly right.
So our next match, we have Eddie Guerrero taking on Ric Flair, but Ric Flair, he's dressed in street clothes.
Yep.
So he said Brian Pillman's going to take his place. Brian Pillman
handled the light work.
He handled the light work, and he's going to have the jet ready with Double A and the newest member of the Four Horsemen. How we still don't know how he got in there, Chris Benoit.
Exactly right.
Yeah, but this was a pretty good fight. I didn't realize how much bigger Brian Pillman was compared to Eddie Guerrero at the time.
Yep.
A little more height, but
Yeah. Still technically a cruiserweight, just a larger cruiserweight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first thing I noticed, is that Ric Flair officially mentioned Chris Benoit as a member of the Horsemen. That was the first thing I recognized right off the bat. And for Brian Pillman handling his light work, he didn't get lightly worked over. He got heavy worked.
Oh yeah.
he got heavily worked by Eddie Guerrero. It shows you just how good Brian Pillman is as a wrestler. He takes to the he does take to heel very well. He has all the heel stuff, poke to the eyes and all that stuff like that. But he is still an actually decent technical wrestler, and it worked well with Guerrero, who every time he's given a chance to shine, he's going to do that. So, was a decent match. It really was a decent match. It kept me for the most part the entire match. Could have done without a couple of the long-winded moments when Flying Brian was just kind of looking around, wondering what was next. But it was a good match nonetheless. It was.
What do you think about the ultimate disrespect when he spit in his face, then he threw the fours up right in his face?
And then Eddie Guerrero proceeded to go off on him real quick. Yeah, that shit was hilarious, bro. That shit was hilarious. Like he spit on him, and Eddie Guerrero just went off. And I was like, okay, this match is about to end. And then that was snuffed out. Yeah, that was funny. That was funny.
Yeah, definitely check out this match. Entertaining match. Pillman, he's on the top rope. Eddie Guerrero leaning on the guardrail. Pillman dives off. He crashes and burns.
Yep.
Eddie gets on the top rope. He flies. He launches himself.
Oh yeah. Right
out to Brian Pillman, and then Eddie Guerrero. He had that snap brain buster. That was filthy.
Brain buster is ridiculous.
Then both guys fighting on the top rope. Eddie pushes Pillman off, and Eddie hits that beautiful frog splash. And 1, 2, 3, Eddie Guerrero is your winner.
Yep. And I mean, I also have to call out the off the top rope drop kick that Pillman hit on Guerrero. That thing is always a thing of beauty.
Yeah.
It is always a thing of beauty.
That's how you stun somebody.
Oh yeah, he stunned the shit out of him. That's the truth.
Oh man. All right. Well, after this, they show video footage of Macho Man getting attacked last week,
Yep.
and then Lex Luger injuring the arm.
Mm-hmm.
So they still showing this feud taking place right here.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's just going and going and going and going and going, especially because they made it a fact to mention it because of the injury that there was a good chance that Macho Man wouldn't even be able to compete in World War III. Which makes sense because, I mean, his arm got worked. Now, we all know what the ending result of World War III will ultimately be, but they did make it a point to hype up the fact that he may not be even competing in World War III because of this. And I mean, it was valid. It made a lot of sense to why they were talking about that. So I'll give him a pass. I'll give him a pass on that. I'll give him a pass on that. The footage was after the match, after Macho took out Ming, and the Dungeon just came down and just obliterated him initially. So.
Well, this is the go home show till World War III. So after we're done with our show, we'll run through the World War III card, and we'll see what we have to look forward to for episode 13 of Nitro next week.
Yep.
So, all right, our next match, we have Big Bubba Rogers taking on Road Warrior Hawk. And, oh my goodness. Oh man. Well, while Hawk's making his entrance, Big Bubba Rogers just walking around the ring and Hawk attacks him from behind.
Yep.
And it was funny that the guys were fighting inside the ring. The match was nothing special to rave about. Nothing whatsoever. Yeah. But Hawk picked up Bubba's legs and like some foreign object looked like a damn doorknob or something like that.
Like a wood doily like you use to like hammer in a hole. Yeah.
Yeah, it fell out of his pocket. And then I'm watching this match. I'm watching Nick Patrick. I'm like, he doesn't see that thing fall out of his pocket. Big Bubba Rogers just put it right back in his pocket. And then Hawk slammed Bubba, Bubba picks it up. And then, then he grabs a roll of tape.
And tapes it to his
fist. And then, for some reason, instead of him just swinging on Hawk, he wants to run back to the ropes to get some more leverage. And then Hacksaw Jim Duggan comes out of nowhere. He trips him, and then he lands on the damn foreign object.
Knocks himself silly.
Oh my goodness!
Which then, after that, Bischoff announces that they're going to have a taped fist match or something. I was like, wait, when did this happen?
Exactly.
what is going on? When did that happen now?
Do you see why I was cracking up when I watched this match yesterday? Yeah. That's why I had to text Lacey. I'm like, watch this.
Absolutely. Because the moment I saw that fall out of his pocket, I was like...
I'm thinking, was that supposed to happen?
No. That wasn't supposed to happen. Because the thing of it is it wasn't like it fell out and it fell out of the ring. It fell out and it landed right in the corner. And Hawk is holding Big Bubba up by his legs. So Nick Patrick has to focus on this area of the ring. How do you not see that there?
Seriously, man. Oh my goodness. Oh man.
And then him getting tripped up and landing on it and knocking himself silly was hilarious. Like, what?
That was the finish of the match.
Yeah, that was the finish of the match. Hawk just rolls over, was like, "Oh look, he's out." Pins him 1, 2, 3. I'm like, okay, you know what? No one sees that his hand is taped, and at this point, since he's laid out, he's like this, and this piece of whatever is still taped to his hand.
Yeah, he pulled out a roll of tape.
A roll of tape and rolled it. And the thing of it is like, it would have been one thing if he had done like this and he had put it in his fist and he had rolled it like this, but it looked like he had actually held it up like this way. And then, so I'm like, what? I hollered. It was like, I could do nothing but laugh because it's like, whoever thought, let's throw the fact that we're gonna have a taped fist match with Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and we're gonna announce it on Nitro by this method probably needed to be fired.
Mm-hmm.
Probably needed to be fired.
All right. Well, our main events, we have the match everybody's looking forward to. Sting versus Hulk Hogan. Sting comes out. He got the red and yellow gear on, and the fans, they're loving Sting right now.
Yep.
Hogan's music hits, and Macho Man comes out, but no Hogan. Hogan is nowhere to be found. Then we see Hulk Hogan coming through the crowd. He has that damn black mask on. You know what that mask reminds me of? Medea's Aunt Bam. The Halloween costume mask Hogan had. I was like, why the hell? Take that damn mask off, man.
I literally put it down as the Phantom of the Opera black mask.
Oh, man.
That thing is horrible.
So, he comes out from the crowd. He takes the mask off. You know, Sting's looking at the entrance. He's looking at Macho Man. All right, where the hell's Hogan? Hogan gets in the ring, takes the mask off. If he's feeling the dark side, you would attack Sting. This mother lover, he's going to tap Sting on the shoulder and Sting, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that? Like, hit this man if you're going to embrace the dark side.
That was the most awkwardest shit I've ever seen. That made no sense at all. If you're going to go through all the trouble of coming through the crowd, you're going to go through all the trouble of looking like you're 75 years old trying to get over that railing to get in the ring. The ring with that mask on. And now that you're in the ring, because clearly at this point, Sting is deaf too. Man, not only did Hulk get in the ring, he's playing to the crowd. Should I hit him?
Yes.
The crowd is reacting. Sting, no concept of what's going on behind him. And then he comes and taps him on the shoulder. And he turns around like, oh, how long have you been there? Bruh.
Oh, man. So
no ring awareness at all in that moment.
So
ring IQ is 0 at that moment.
Yes, no ring awareness. So they finally stare off, and then Sting, he brings it to him. He brings the Hogan. And then watching this match right here, Hogan embracing the dark side. Nothing has changed with him. He's just wearing dark colors. He has some burgundy boots on. And then Hogan has Sting in some type of submission move. And he asks Macho, is he with us or against us? I think he's against us, brother.
Let me know what he's about. I need to know what I need to know where he's coming from.
Yeah. All right, so I don't understand this match whatsoever because why was Hogan doing technical moves in this match right here?
Maybe that's his dark side. He decides to be an actual wrestler.
He's doing arm bars. He's doing all these wrestle maneuvers.
Maybe his dark side is New Japan and he decides to be a technical wrestler. I don't know. What I will tell you is I found it very hilarious that if you looked at his tights on the right side, it said Hulkster. On the left side, it said Giant Killer. Giant Killer to who? He's 0 for 1.
I didn't notice that. I didn't peep that.
Yeah, his tights say Giant Killer. Like when I saw that his tights says something other than Hulkster on the other side, I made it a point to figure out what it was. His tights say Giant Killer. I was like, dude, okay, so let's see what happened. You got choke slammed. You got your neck snapped. You got choke slammed the second time. You got your neck snapped again. You ended up in a neck brace. You got you got some type of offense off before Havoc. Then you got your ass whooped in Havoc a bit. You got your belt stolen from you after you got attacked again. But you're a Giant Killer. Okay.
He got a lot going on. A lot going on.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, Sting, basically Sting dominated the match. Hogan had some offense, but Sting, he put Hogan in the Scorpion Deathlock. Hogan doesn't tap out. He broke the hole. He hulks up. Does what he does, but he goes for a leg drop and he misses, and Hogan is selling that damn leg, and then Sting goes for Scorpion again, but all of a sudden the Dungeon of Doom comes out and all hell breaks loose. The Giant comes out.
Wait. Before all of that, before we even mention all of that, we're not going to forget the fact that Hogan had had ref basically in an arm lock, headlock combo, screaming, "Help me!" Literally screaming, "Help me!" Did not tap out, but is asking the ref to help him. And then the Dungeon comes out and it starts whooping on everybody.
Yeah. The Giant comes out.
Yep.
And he's getting ready to choke slam. Who was it? Savage getting ready to choke slam, but he gets hit by a chair.
He was about to double choke slam Hogan and Sting.
Yep. The Savage comes in with the chair.
Savage comes in with the chair and cracks him in the back.
With that bad arm, right?
Yep, with the bad arm, which meant he basically felt like he was doing this. So Giant turns around, choke slams him. But in that meantime, Hogan and Sting have the chair, and they basically ram him out of the ring with the chair.
Yeah, like a double clothesline with a chair.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, wow, you got Hogan and Sting teaming up together again.
Working together. Well, and my thing is, again, Bobby Heenan makes it a point to mention that the Dungeon of Doom has not touched Sting.
Nope.
But the Giant chokeslammed Sting several weeks back. So technically, he's a member of the Dungeon of Doom. So technically, Sting's been touched by the Dungeon of Doom. But they keep mentioning, oh, well, he didn't get attacked by the rest of them. Well, damn, he got chokeslammed by the Giant. That's all you need. But it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
And that is our WCW Nitro episode 12 show right there.
Minus whatever that nonsense was that was happening at the end of the show when the Dungeon of Doom basically tried to take over the announce booth and was talking a whole lot of gibberish because they had no mics, and Eric Bischoff was like, "Get out of here! You don't belong here!" So they never even got to say anything. So yeah, that was a waste of time. So yeah, like you said, that was the show, and leads into my part of the show. So, my bud, what was your moment of the night?
When the show ended. Last week's show, we had such an amazing card. The matches was phenomenal, except for the Randy Savage match against Meng and the promos. It was so good. It was just day and night. I don't know, maybe they're just trying to scale it down a little bit to get ready for World War III. But oh my gosh, this show was all over the place. I did not enjoy this show.
Well, yeah, my moment of the night was when I realized that. And no offense to people who are fans, it's just that he's oversaturated already. But when I realized that Lex Luger was not actually on the show, that was my moment of the night when I realized, oh my God, he's not on the show, just showing up there for the purposes of what? Because there has been times where he was just on the show. They just threw him on the show just to have him on the show. He had no real purpose. No real reason to be there. And perfect example, episode 1, he walked out for nothing. He walked out for no reason because his actual storyline reason for being out there came later. There was the episode where he came out when Ric Flair was talking, and Ric Flair just praised him, and he said, oh, some things never change, and he left. There was no reason for it. There's just reasons for him. They just threw him on there just to oversaturate him on the show, and it was a relief to see him not on there if there wasn't a purpose for him being there. So there was that. Also, this was the first time on an episode of Nitro that Hugh Morris actually showed up as a member of the Dungeon of Doom.
Yeah, it's true.
This is the first time. Like all this time, it'd been Shark, it'd been Zodiac, it'd been Ming, but this is the first time that Hugh Morris actually showed up as a member. So I did note that as well.
I feel like we gotta watch some Saturday nights to know what's going on because shit just comes out of left field. Everything.
Yeah, a lot of stuff comes out of left field. And the thing of it is in the early going, they would at least give you some type of, like with Bad
a
and
recap.
Like with Bad and DDP, they gave the recap of where Johnny B. Bad had the flat tire, and then his boy kind of sold him under the river, talking about his 4 flat tires. You know, at least you gave us some context as to why things are happening. The last 2 weeks, stuff has happened, and we have no clue why. We have no clue why. It's just like,
oh man,
yeah. It's like that. It's like that.
So to me, this show definitely does not matter.
No, this show, especially for a take home show, this show's a disappointment. You have to have a big build to your pay per view. You have to have a big build to your pay per view, and when you have a show that has Hulk Hogan and Sting wrestling against each other, which is technically it is a pay per view quality match, as Mongo was very very much quick to point out. On a go home show for a pay per view, the build has to be so epic for that, and this just fell flat.
Seriously did.
It just fell flat. Like you know, back in the day, you'd have, and this is talking about the other company. On a go home show, you'd routinely have everyone who was involved in the pay per view show up and fight at the end of the night, leading by the biggest face of them all at the time, coming out and basically evening the odds and flattening everybody out and getting everybody hyped up. There was nothing about this hype. It was basically Dungeon of Doom comes out. They start beating on Hogan and Sting, which I guess them as a group beating on Sting must have been the big thing because he had never been touched. And Hogan and Sting fighting out of it, and then all of a sudden Hogan's Sting's boy again. Yeah, I
makes
no
no
damn
sense.
It was weak.
All right, well, on the other channel, Monday Night Raw, November 20th, 1995. The opening match, we have the 1-2-3 Kid taking on Hakushi.
Okay.
And then after this, we have Skip and Savio Vega going 1-on-1.
Okay.
And your main event,
Bandito.
We have Owen Hart taking on Shawn Michaels.
All right. So
in this match with Shawn Michaels and Owen Hart, this is the one when he got the insecurity and he flexes and then he falls down, he collapses in the middle of the ring. You remember that? So that's your Raw show.
Yeah, I'm turning it. I'm unfortunately, even though Sting and Hogan were the card, knowing the whole show now, I would have watched all of Raw. I would have watched all of Raw and then kind of flip back and forth between Sting, Hogan, and Shawn and Owen if they were on at the same time, because I think at that time Nitro was on at 8, Raw was on at 9. But I would have definitely, if I had to go head to head with those two, I would have watched Raw for most of the show and then went back. Even though Guerrero was good, the Guerrero match is, Guerrero match. But, I'm not switching back and forth over one match. I'm not switching back to an entire show that sucked the rest of the way because of one match. And, I would have bounced back and forth between Sting, Hogan, and Owen, Shawn.
Well, I'd have been WCW that night because they advertised Hogan and Sting. And after the card that they had last week,
you might have expected it, yeah.
Yeah, I would expect a good ass card.
Yeah.
And I will watch Raw when I could.
Yeah.
But that's what that was. And their next show, they have World War III. I'm going to run through the card right quick. All right. The opening match is for the TV title. We have Johnny B. Bad taking on Diamond Dallas Page.
Yep. We know how. And do we want to give spoilers on how that ends, or do we want to just wait till the next show?
We'll wait till the next show.
Okay.
And then our next match, we have that tape fist match between Big Bubba Rogers and Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Okay.
Then you got a tag team match. Bull Nakano and Akira Hokuto with Sonny Ono taking on Oof, some Asians. I'm gonna butcher their names. Mayumi Osaki and Cutie Suzuki.
Squash match. Okay, continue on.
And then for the United States Championship, you have Kensu Sasaki taking on Chris Benoit.
Wait,
Hold
what
on.
title was that?
United States Championship. Hold on. When did Sting lose the United States Championship?
I have no idea.
Could we see Sasaki last week?
And he didn't have it.
He didn't have the title.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Okay, so when did Sting?
Yeah, all right.
Did Sting lose U.S. Championship to Chris Benoit? Because
No, Benoit didn't have the title.
So what?
Sasaki had the title.
So when did Sting lose the title?
What does it say up there?
I'm checking.
All right, well, I'll go on to the next match. The next match, we have Lex Luger taking on Randy Savage. And then we have Sting taking on Ric Flair. Oh, they picking that feud back up again?
Who is it? Sting and Ric Flair?
Sting and Flair.
Oh, boy.
And then your main event is for the vacant World Heavyweight title, the 60-man World 3 match.
Yep.
Do you want me to tell you who the winner is?
I already know.
Who?
Macho Man.
Yes, Macho
Man. That's why I said they made it a point to say that he might not even be advertised. He might not even be able to fight because of the injury. That's why I said they made it a point to say that for a reason, because he ends up winning the whole damn thing.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Macho Man had a match with Luger, loses, but he won the Battle Royal.
Yeah, that's interesting. That is very, very interesting.
Still nothing on Sting?
I'm looking. I'm not getting anything.
Well, all right.
Because it just popped out of nowhere. Okay, so.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So it says for Kensuke Sasaki, he won his first major title, the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship, on November 13th, 1995, which is weird.
That was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And so that was episode. Yeah. So technically that's episode 11.
No, 10. Episode 10.
So episode 10. Oh, did I get the date wrong? I might have gotten the date wrong. But yeah, so we're looking at literally.
Hold on.
No, wait a minute. No. So, but basically, he wins the title.
What you said, the 13th?
It says November 13, 1995.
Hold on, let me see.
Because that literally, right now. I have that literally listed as episode 11.
November 13, 1995, Sting fought Dean Malenko. That's the one we just covered last week.
Yeah, that was last week. So that was episode 11. So I'm literally looking here. It says that he defeated Sting at a New Japan Pro Wrestling event. So technically, hear me out. I think Japan is a day ahead of us. Either a day ahead of us or a day behind us. So it's humanly possible that Sting jumped a flight to Japan to lose that match and then come back.
It's the only way.
Yeah, because was that? I don't believe that match was a. Was that match a title match? I don't remember.
No, that's weird.
Yep. See, folks that are watching, this is something that us old folk do. This old folk does from time to time. Yeah, it was a non-title match. It was a non-title match, which probably was because they knew he'd already They didn't mention he lost it during the show, so my guess is that he lost it the next night.
Maybe we see a video package. Oh my goodness! All right, well that doesn't matter. Well,
more mess.
Well, next week on Nitro, November 27th, 1995, we already told you what happened at World War III. Well, our opening match for this show is for the WCW TV title. We have Johnny B. Bad taking on DDP again. We have Akira Hokuto and Bull Nakano taking on Cutie Suzaki and Mayomi Ozaki again. There's 2 matches from the night before of the pay-per-view taking place on Nitro. We get a Hulk Hogan match, another one. But this time he's facing Hugh Morris.
And now we know why Hugh Morris shows up finally.
And in the main event, you have Lex Luger and Sting taking on the 4 Horsemen of Arn Anderson and Brian Pillman.
Yeah, because that's weird. So for the record, Japan is 12 hours behind us. Or 12 hours ahead of us, rather. So, I mean...
I don't know, brother.
There is... Yeah, I don't know. So...
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it is frustrating, but it doesn't matter. So, for the dark matches, because there were 3, Evad beats the Gambler.
I don't care who the Gambler is. I don't care. Next.
Neither do I. To the surprise of absolutely no one, Johnny B. Bad defeats Diamond Dallas Page in the WCW TV title match.
Yo, they've been fighting for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Dark matches, man.
Dark matches, then a pay-per-view, and then another match. This is the song that goes in. Yeah. And then the American Males defeats the Barrio Brothers.
The who?
Barrio Brothers.
Oh.
And another time you may have known them as the Cuban Assassins.
Oh, okay.
They still sucked.
Oh, Lord.
So...
Are you going to tune in and skim through World War III? Just for curiosity?
I think I will run the show and just kind of skip through it. As I said, I already know, because I started watching 13, so I already know how the Johnny B. Bad match ends, so I don't have to necessarily watch that, so I can skip through that.
Don't forget, they fought at the last pay-per-view, too.
Yeah, because this is the song that doesn't end.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it is. I will probably skip through, get the highlights of stuff, and keep it pushing. Yeah. But not going to really just be intensely watching the whole. That's just not going to happen.
I'll just probably watch the Battle Royal. That's all I want to see. Like see that shit show.
Mm-hmm.
That's
it. I'll yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, got us speeches over here. Until then, I'm Notorious One. I am Dom. I'm here, my man BDC, and we will see you next week. Boom.